finally I'm back with another video, and today we're going to building app with CRUD functionality. We are going to use Firebase Firestore to store our data. And we're not going to use any framework or library. This is just pure HTML, CSS, and a JavaScript. So let's see the final project. And yeah, this is what we are going to building, guys. And as you can see in here, we have 4 user: Albert, Carl, John, and Chand. This is come from the Cloud Firestore. As you can see in here, we have 4 document. If I click that, this is Carl, John, Chand, and Albert. For example, I want to delete the Chandev right here. If I click delete, now that is gone. And as you can see in the console, we have document successfully deleted. And yeah, this is a real time, guys. And if you open the Cloud Firestore, now Chandev is gone. And for example, I want to maybe add user to say Chandev again. Phone number, email, say chan@dev.com. And if I click submit, now we have new list right here. Okay, Chandev. And if I open the Cloud Firestore, now we should have Chandev right here. Okay, so let's try to add it. For example, I want to add it to Albert Hamilton right here. I want to add it to phone number to say 111. And when I click submit, now there's updated. And if I open the Cloud Firestore and looking for Albert Hamilton, now as you can see, the phone number is updated. Okay, that's what we are going to building, guys. Hope you will learn new thing from this video. And so let's get started. The first step, what we need to do is create a folder. So let's create a folder called a Firestore _ CRUD, and let's cd into the folder Firestore _ CRUD. Enter that, and I want to open with live server. And let's create a file. Just want to say index.html, and style.css. And let's open the index.html file. Okay, so in here, I want to say explanation tab, and let's change the title into CRUD with Firestore. And let's give a h1 to say hello world. Save, and I'm using extension called live server in VS Code. So I can click right and open with live server. Now we should see hello world. Awesome. So as you can see in the final project, we have the container in here. So I just want to create a div with class container. Div with class container. And inside in here, I want to say header. Just represent this thing right here. Inside the header, I just want to say a history with list member text. So let's go back in here, say history, list member. Wait. Really? I can't typing anymore. Oh. List member, and down here, we need to create the table, but I want to, wait, just close the terminal. I want to wrap our table inside a div with the class, to say table wrapper. And inside in here, I want to say a table tag with a class table -users. All right, so let's say tr, and let's say th, and first name, first name, let's copy that a couple times, and this should be the last name, and email, I believe. And no, this should be phone. And right here, say email, and wait, action. And I save. Now that's what we have. Okay, let's go back, and down here I'm gonna say tr and td. For now I just want to hard code the user, so let's say chandef for the phone number, just say 123 and for the email, say chan@dev.com. And for the action, we need to create a button in here. Basically, we need to create two buttons, which is edit and delete button. So inside in here, let's say button. I want to give a class called btn and btn dash edit. Just give a text edit. Let's copy and paste and remove or delete. Yeah, delete. And this should be btn delete. Okay, so let's try to save now and let's see. That's what we have now. Okay, so let's try to add a add user button down here. So let's go back. Under a table, we need to create a button. Let's give a class called a btn and btn-add, and the text, it should be add user. Save. Here we go. Now let's try to styling that. Before I forget, just say link, say style.css, save and go to style.css. I want to grab everything and remove the margin and padding into 0. And the box sizing, let's say border box. And let's grab the body. I want to change the background into red, just make sure that everything is work. Cool. So I like to use a Roboto font from Google font. So let's go to Google font and let's looking for Roboto font. This thing right here, just click that and let's say like 300, select this style and I want to use the import right here. Just copy this thing right here, copy and paste up here, and to use that we can just copy this thing right there and copy in here. Bam. Now save, and we should have beautiful font right now. Cool. So let's grab the container class, container, yes, and we need to say maximal width into just say for 50 rem, and I want to say margin top and bottom 2 rem and left and right auto to make that center. So let's see right here, and let's give a background into red so you can see. And by the way, I want to add a box shadow. So let's grab, let's remove the background red, and I like to use cssmatic.com/box-shadow. I put the link description below, by the way. So in here, you can create a beautiful, beautiful box shadow, by the way, guys. And the blur radius, I just want to say like that. And yeah, it's just something like that. Now we can just copy and paste that right here. Now save, and let's see, we have the beautiful box shadow. Okay, awesome. Let's close that. So now let's grab the header tag, header, and I want to say width into 100% and give a background into, yeah, I just want to create a variable so we can use that. Let's say root dash dash primary dash color. Let's say 955 DF4. Okay, and let's say secondary color into FF81 and 6C. Okay, so for the header, we need to use the primary color. So what we need to do is just say dash dash primary color. Okay, now save, and here we go. Let's add padding, say 1 rem, save, bam. Now let's change the color to white. So let's grab that header and history. We need to change the color into white, and we need to say margin left. I'm gonna say 1.5 rem, save, and boom. So now let's grab the, what is that, table users, and let's see, table dash users. I want to say a width into 90%. Where's my percent? And I want to make that center, so margin to rem top and bottom, and auto left and right. And here we go. Next, I want to grab the th and the d right here. Okay, so let's go to style.css. Let's say table user th and table user to d. For now, I just want to say background red so you can see right here. Okay, I want to say text line to left. Say text line left. Here we go. And I want to say the border top into 1 pixel solid, and the color I'm gonna use DDD, and I'm gonna say border bottom, say 1 pixel solid and DDD. Okay, save, and here we go. Just give a padding, I think, say padding 0.5 rem, and here we go. Oh yeah, the border collapse. Let's say in table user, I want to say border collapse. Border dash collapse, not color. Collapse into collapse. And I save, and that was so cool. Okay, so the next thing is I want to change the background in here. Okay, like the final project right here. Okay, so let's go to down here. I want to grab the table user th, and I want to say a background into, say frfr, not dollar but frfr, and I want to say a padding top 1 rem and auto left and right. Wait, auto. Save, and here we go. Okay, so far so good. The next thing is we need to styling the button right here. So let's grab the button btn. We need to say a background into transparent. We need to say width, say 5 rem. Give a height into 2 rem. Say border radius, say 1 rem. Say cursor into pointer, and I'm gonna remove the outline into none. So save. Let's change the edit button color. So let's do in here. We need to grab the btn color. not btn color, btn edit, and we need to change the color into primary color. When I save, now the edit text, it should be blue. We need to the border radius is blue as well. So let's grab the border, 1 pixel solid, and the color primary color. When I save, here we go. Cool, right? So I like to, when I hover the edit button, we have a little animation. So let's say btn dash edit, hover. I want to change the background into primary color, and I want to change the color into white. Save, and when I hover, here we go. And let's add a transition. I want to add in a btn class. So let's say transition all 0.5 second, and just say is. When I hover, now we have a little animation. Okay, pretty awesome. Now the delete button. So let's just copy this thing right here, paste that in here. I want to change that into delete, and this thing right here into delete. Okay, so let's change the color into secondary color, and this thing right here, secondary color, and the hover, we need to use secondary color as well. Okay, when I save and hover, that's so beautiful. We need to push the button to the center. Remember, in index.html, we wrap everything in table wrapper. I want to grab that table wrapper right here. Let's copy, and we need to grab that in here. And I want to say text line into center. And here we go. So let's grab the add user button class, and remember we have a class with btn add. All right, so let's give a width into 6 rem and height, let's say 2 rem. Just say background into primary, and say border none, and just say color into white. Save, and bam. I want to add maybe padding bottom into container. So let's go to container, and let's say padding bottom, let's say 2 rem, for example. Save. Yeah, cool. All right, so now we need to create the modal. Okay, so let's go back, and we need to say in index.html, down here we need to say comment, this is for add modal, and just remove the space, and I want to give a div with class add modal and modal dash wrapper. Okay, so inside in here, let's say div with the class modal, and I want to create the header. So div with class modal dash header, and inside in here, let's say has3 and add new user. Okay, so down here we need to create div with the class modal dash body. This is for the form, by the way. If you click, we have the form, right? So let's create the form. I want to give a class called form, and the action, we don't need that. And I want to remove the, not remove, I just want to say autocomplete to off, because I don't want to see the suggestion when I focus in specific field right here. Okay, so inside a form, So let's create an input, type text, give a name, first name, and say placeholder into first name. Okay, so let's say input again, and this is text, name, last name, placeholder, say last name. Let's say input again. This should be number because we need to say a pawn in here. Say placeholder pawn. Okay, the last thing is the email type. It should be email, and name, just say email, and placeholder, let's say email. Okay, and down here we need to create the button submit. So let's say button. We need to add a class in here, just say btn and btn dash modal, and the text it should be submit. When I save, now we should see something like this. Okay, let's give a comment called Modal. I want to grab the Modal wrapper class, and let's give a position to fix. This is basically just the shadow. As you can see in here, we have a dark shadow if the modal is pop up. Okay, when I click, see, we have a dark background in here. So let's say position fix, and the width 100%, height of course 100%, width 100%, and left 0 and top 0, and I want to say a background into black or something. And yeah, when I save, that's what we have. But of course we need to give opacity, and I want to say something like this. Wait, yeah, something like that. So try to save, and yeah, I'm happy with that. So next we need to grab the model, and we need to say position to relative. I want to say a background into white. So save. No, not background. What? What happening? Background white, and here we go. Just say text align into center, and just give a width into 25 rem. Give a margin 5 rem top and bottom, and auto left and right to make that center. And here we go. So let's add a box shadow. I just want to copy the container box shadow right here and put that into the model right here. Okay, save, and now we should have the box shadow. Awesome. So the next thing is I want to styling the header like this. Okay, so model header, and I want to say margin bottom, let's say 1 rem, and I want to change the background into FB, and let's give a padding into 2 rem. Save, and here we go. Next, let's grab the model body. Say model dash body. We need to give a padding into 2 rem, and I want to grab all the input. I want to say width into 100%. When I save, and here we go. Let's give height into 2.2 rem. Give a margin bottom, so we have space between the input field. Let's say 1 rem. Save, and here we go. So I need to give a space in here, so we can use text indent, by the way. Text indent into 0.5 rem. When I save, now we should have space. Okay, awesome. So as you can see in here, we have a black color when I focus in specific input field. We don't need that, so we need to say outline into none. So save, and here we go. Next, let's styling the button. So let's do in here, we have class called btn-modal, right? So let's say the background into primary color, and we need to say the border into none, and change the text color into white, and give a width, let's say 9 rem. Save, and bam, beautiful. What we need to do now is we need to by default hide this modal. Okay, so let's go to the modal wrapper. We need to say display into none, and when I save, now the modal, it should be gone. But now if I click the add user right here, I need to the modal is pop up. So let's go to the index.html because we need a JavaScript. So we need to open a script tag in here with source into /script.js. We don't have yet, but let's create that. So script.js. Okay, just make sure everything is work. I want to say alert to say hello. When I save, now we have hello. Okay, that means everything is work. So let's try to say Ctrl+Shift+G, and this will be open the console. Okay, so the first thing what we need to do is we need to grab the button class right here, this add user class. So let's go to index. Add user have a class called a btn add. So we need to grab that. So we can say cons, just give a name btn add equals to document dot query selector. We need to grab the class with name btn add. So if somebody click the btn add, we need to do something. So we need to say add event listener. We need to listen for click event, and this callback, it should be fire. So now just want to say console.log open modal. When I save, now if I click, bam, we have open modal in the console every time I click. Okay, the next thing is we need to grab the modal class. So add modal right here. Okay, so let's copy, and I want to say up here, just give a command called modal add. We need to say cons add modal, set it equals to document.query selector. We need to grab a class called add modal. Okay, so if I click the btn add, okay, this thing right here, I want to grab the add modal, put that in here, and I want to say class list dot add. I want to add a class called modal show. Okay, so every time I click the button add, I want to add modal show class in add modal. So let's try to create a modal show class in CSS. I want to create in here like so, and I want to say a display into block. Wait, block. Okay, when I save, now every time I click this, no, that's not working because this is black. Should be block, not black. Okay, save, and now when I refresh and I click the add user, the modal, it should be pop up. But I like to, when I click outside the modal, it should be gone. Okay, so let's go to script.js. We need to say, I want to give a comment, I think, in here. Click add user button. Down here, let's give a comment. Let's say user click anywhere outside the modal. Okay, we need to use window.addEventListener in here. We need to listen for click event and callback. And I just want to show you something in here. Say console.log e.target. Wait, what happening? e.target, and I want to console.log the add modal. So let's try to save and see. When I click the add user, now you have the button and the add modal. If I click outside the modal, as you can see in here, we have the same exactly element, right? So that's what you want. When I click in the modal, there's a difference. So in here, we can say if e.target is equals to add modal, we need to say add modal, we need to remove the modal show class. So we can say class list.remove modal show. Okay, so when I save and I click that and click outside the modal, there's gone. Okay, if I click in modal, it's not gonna do anything, but outside it's gone. Okay, awesome. So I like to give a, yeah, just say transition or something. Let's go to the style.css. Let's say down here, we need to say keyframes. Let's give a name animate top from, let's say top into, just say minus 300 pixel, and opacity into 0, and to top 0, and opacity into 1. So let's bring in the animation in here. We can say animation dash name animate top. Okay, and we need to give a animation duration, animation dash duration, say 0.4 seconds. When I save and when I click, bam, it's come from the top. So the next thing what we need to do is we need to create database in Firebase Firestore. Instead of using hard code in here, we need to read data from the database. So let's go to console.firebase.google.com. You can log in with your Google account and just click create a project. You can give any name you want. For now, I just want to say, yeah, to say crude with chant. I don't know, but let's click continue. And I don't want to enable the Google Analytics. Just create a project. It's like a couple minutes. Just wait for that. All right, so it's done. Let's click continue and go to Cloud Firestore and just click create database. And for now, we can use start in test mode. Okay, so just click next and doesn't matter, just click enable. All right, so in Cloud Firestore in here, we can create a collection and just give a name users and click next and just click auto ID. And we need to say a field, just say first name and value, just say chant, and we can add field, should be last name and type string and just say def, add field, pawn, right? And just say string, value 123 and say email, and just say chant@email.com. Yeah, for the pawn we can use a number if you want, but yeah, just for now to say string for everything and click save. Now we have one document and this thing right here. Okay, so let's go to the project overview and click the web right here, and we need to register the app. You can say CRUD with chant register app. So let's copy everything code in here. You can just click copy and paste that in here. All right, and just say, here we go. So in here we have to do add SDK for Firebase product that you want to use. And by the way, we need to use Firebase Firestore. So we need to just copy this thing right here and paste that in here. And we need to change that into Firebase Firestore. Okay. And down here, we need to invoke the Firebase Firestore in app in variable. I just want to say db, set that equals to Firebase dot Firestore. Okay, and now we can access this db variable in script.js. Right, so save and go to script.js. All right, so now we need to get all the users, this thing right here. Now we have just one user. Okay, so we need to use db dot collection. What collection we need to use is this thing right here, which is users. So we need to say users, and we need to use a get method in here. This is a return promise, so we need to use .then and just say query snapshot, and we need to say query snapshot dot for each, and let's say a doc for individual document. And in here we need to just say console.log doc.data. Okay, that's how we get data. Okay, so now save, and let's see in the browser, db.collection is not a function. It should be collection all. Save, and let's go back. As you can see in here, we have the data right here. So we have the first name Chan and last name Dav, the phone number, and the email. This is come from the Cloud Firestore. Okay, so if I add another document in here, just say autofilled, let's say first name string, and just say John. Let's add new field. Let's say last name Doe. Add field. This is for pawn guys. Oh no, I cannot typing pawn. Yes. 123 and this is for the email, and just say john at gmail.com, and let's say save. Now we should see two user in the console, so let's try to refresh. See, now we have two objects in here. This is Chan and John. So I like to create another function that render the data into the browser. So let's do down here. Let's say create element and render the users. Okay, so we can say cons render user, set that equals to arrow function. This is take a document as a parameter, and we need to run down here. Okay, so let's say render user, we want to paste the document like that. So in here, we need to create a cons with just say tr, so that equals to a backtick in here. And I want to create, just copy the tr right here. This thing right here, we can just copy that and paste that inside this backtick right here, like that. So let's just remove the chunk right here. We need to put the document.data. Okay, we need to access the first name. Okay, let's go back to the browser. We need to access the first name, so we can say dot first name, like that. Okay, now it just copy everything in here, and we need to put that in here. This should be last name, because we need to access the last name, which is this thing right here. Okay, so let's say for the phone, we need to say dot phone, and the email, we need to say dot email. Cool. So now we need to grab the table user class, which is this thing right here. Okay, and let's just copy and go back to the script.js file, and we need to say in here to say cons table users, so that equals to document.getElement query selector. Wait, query selector, and we need to grab a table user class. So down here we need to say table user dot insert JSON HTML, and we need to say before n, and we need to bring in the tr variable in here. So let's try to save. Hopefully we can see the value in here. Okay, we have Chan and John. Cool. But let's go back to the index.html. Basically, we need to remove the hard code right here. Okay, we don't need that. This thing right here. Let's get rid of this. So now save. Now we have data from the database, Chan and John. All right, cool. So next we need to make this add user work. So if I add a new user in here, and if I click submit, we have new user in here. All right, so let's go back to the script.js. I want to grab the form. All right, so let's go back in here and let's create a variable. Just say add modal form, and set that equals to document dot query selector. We need to grab the add dash modal, and we need to grab a form. Okay, so let's do down here. Let's give a comment. Just want to say click submit in add modal, and let's say add modal form dot add event listener. We're going to listen for a submit event, and let's say call back in here to say console.log button submitted. Let's go back to the browser, and if I click add user and submit, now we have button submitted, but the browser is reload. We don't need that. We need to use e.prevent default in here, so the browser is not reload every time we click the submit. So we can say e.prevent default. All right, so let's try to save and try again. If I click submit, now we have button submitted. Alright, so far so good. Now I want to grab all the value if I typing something in input field right here. So how that we can do that? So let's get rid of this button submitted right here. We need to say add modal form dot first name dot value. Okay, if I save and let's try to say Albert. If I click submit, we should have Albert in the console. That's how we grab value in the form. Okay, if I want to grab the last name, I can just say add modal form dot last name dot value. Alright, so we need to send the value into the Cloud Firestore. So we can do db.collection. We need to use user collection, and we're going to use add method in here and paste in object, and we need to give a same field name. All right, so let's say first name. This first name right here, I want to give a value. The value, it should be at modal form dot first name dot value. All right, for the last name, I want to give a value last name, so we can just copy and paste that, and this should be last name and last name dot value. This should be pon and pon dot value. This should be email and email dot value. All right, so if I save and go back to the browser, now if I click add user and let's fill all these fields right here, I can say Albert Hamilton, phone number, email, just say albert@gmail.com. If I click submit, now it's not do anything. But if I click outside the modal and refresh the browser, we should see Albert Hamilton in here. Okay, and of course in Cloud Firestore we should see Albert Hamilton, this thing right here. All right, good. But I want to, every time I click the submit, the modal is gone. Okay, so we need to grab the modal wrapper right here. So let's do up here. You can say cons modal wrapper, so that equals to document dot query selector. We need to grab the modal wrapper class. So we need to use the modal wrapper variable in here, and we can say dot class list, and we need to remove the modal show class. You can say modal show and save. Now let's add a new user. Let's just say user 1, phone number, email, user at 1.com. And if I click submit, now the modal is gone. And if I refresh, we have user 1 in here. Okay, and of course we have user 1 in the Cloud Firestore as well. Where is that? This thing right here. All right, cool. The next thing what we need to do is I want to make this delete button work. So if I click delete, the user is gone. So let's go back in here, and inside a render user function, I want to give a comment in here. Just say click delete user, and we need to grab the button, delete button right here. So let's go to index.html. It's not in here. Where's that? In here, right? btn delete. We need to grab that. So we can say cons btn delete, so that equals to document dot query selector. We need to grab the btn delete, and I want to listen for click event. So we can say btn delete dot add event listener. We need to listen for click event and call back in here. For now, just say console.log user deleted. Alright, so let's try to save, and every time I click delete, we have user deleted. But as you can see in here, we have for a time. That means is all this delete in here, it's running every time I click that. Okay, so we don't want that. We need to specific user we want. So I want to show you something in here. Just say console.log doc.id. If I save and let's see, we have for ID in here. The ID in here, it just represent the user in here. Okay, for this ID, this is represent the Albert Hamilton. This is for Chand, John, and user one. Okay, so we need to use this ID to this tr right here. So we can say data ID set that equals to let's say doc.id. All right, so now we can grab for specific delete button with specific ID. All right, so we need to use backtick in here, and we need to grab the data-id with data-id set that equals to doc.id. Okay, so if I save, yeah, we need to give a space and save. Now if I click delete, now user delete is just run one time. If I just say console.log, what happening? I just want to say console.log doc.data and the first name, for example, and I save, and let's try to click delete. Now we have Albert. This should be Chan, John, and user. Okay, that's what we want. Now we need to delete data from the database. We can use a db.collection again. We need to grab the user collection, and we need to use a specific document in here, and you can use backtick. Let's say doc.id, and we need to use a delete method, delete, and this is return parameters. So we can say .then, and let's do call back in here. And if everything is working, we can just say console.log document successfully deleted. All right, so if something wrong, we can use catch in here, and we grab the error and just say console.log. You can say error removing document, and let's paste in the error right there. Okay, so let's try to save. Now every time I click delete, the user it should be gone. Let's try to see user one right here. Delete, nothing happened, but if I refresh, there's gone. Okay, let's say Chandev. If I click, nothing happened, but as you can see in the console, you have document successfully deleted, and if I refresh, it's gone. Okay, so far so good. So the next thing is I want to, every time I click edit, I want to the modal is pop up. I'm not going to use the add new user modal. I want to just create another modal in here. Okay, just copy everything in here and paste that down here. Let's remove the tab like that, and let's say edit modal and change this into edit modal, and let's say h3 into edit user. Save. So next we need to grab the edit class and the modal class. So let's go to the script. We need to just copy this thing right here and paste that down here. And this should be modal edit. And let's say edit modal and edit modal form. This should be edit modal and edit modal form. Okay, save, and let's go to the render user function. I want to give a comment in here, just say click edit user. Now we need to get the edit button with the specific ID. All right, so we need to say const btn edit, so that equals to document dot query selector. We need to grab the, want to use backtick again, say data dash id, set that equals to document.id, and we need to grab the btn dash edit, I believe, this thing right here. Okay, so down here we need to add event listener btn edit dot add event listener. We need to listen for click event and run callback in here. We need to grab the modal, which is edit modal. We need to add a class in here. So class list dot add, we need to add modal show class. Okay, so if I save, now every time I click edit, you should see edit user. Okay, but if I click outside the modal, it's not hide the modal. So let's go back in here and user click anywhere outside the modal. We need to say another condition in here, say e dot target, set that equals to edit modal. We need to say edit modal dot class list dot remove. We need to remove the modal show. Okay, save, and now every time I click edit, outside edit, it should be gone. Okay, cool. So let's scroll up, and you know what, when I click edit, I want the value, which is Albert Hamilton, the phone number and the email. It should be showing inside this field right here. So let's go back to the edit right here, and we need to say edit modal form dot first name. I want to say value, set that equals to doc dot data, and we need to grab the first name. Okay, just simple as that. So now copy and paste that a couple times. This should be the last name. This is last name for the database. This should be phone, and let's grab the phone into the modal, and this should be email from the modal, and we are going to set that into email from the database. So let's try to save and see. If I click edit, now we have all the value. Okay, awesome, freaking awesome. We get Albert and we get the John. Okay, so now every time I click the submit, I want to do something. So let's scroll down here. Let's give a comment, say click submit in edit modal. Okay, so we can say edit modal form dot add event listener. We want to listen for a submit event and run this callback function in here. And of course we need to set the e.prevent default, because we don't need the browser is reload. So e.prevent default. To edit the user, we need to say db.collection again. We need to grab the user collection, and in here we need to say doc and specific ID. Okay, we need the ID in here. specific ID that we click. Okay, but how that we can send the ID from here into here? Okay, so I don't know, but I just make that simple as possible, guys. So I create a let's say ID, and inside this thing right here, I'm gonna say ID set that equals to doc dot id, and we can use the ID in here. Okay, yeah, of course, not the best way to do that, but yeah, just make that simple as possible, guys. So we need to use update method in here, and we need to say first name. Let's say edit modal form dot first name dot value. Basically, it's just same like we did it in here, so we can just copy that and paste in here, but we need to change the add modal form into edit modal form. Okay, and after we submit the modal, we need to say edit modal, and we need to remove the class modal show. Okay, so let's try to save and see. For example, I want to edit the John Doe right here. The John Doe right here, I want to edit that into Chan dev, and the email say chan@dev.com, and let's try to click submit. Nothing happened, but if I reload, see, we have Chan dev right here. Okay, so far so good, guys. And let's try to edit the phone number, just make sure everything's work. Just want to say 111 and submit, refresh. Here we go. Cool. So now we need to implement the real-time database, because now we need to always refresh the browser every time we add, delete, or edit the user, right? We don't need that. So let's go to the script.js. I want to just make this, I just want to comment that and just give a comment. This is for real-time listener. So we can say db.collection. We need to grab the user's collection, and we need to use on snapshot method in here. And let's grab the snapshot callback in here, and let's say snapshot dot. We're going to use dot change, and let's say for each, we need to grab the individual change in here, and I just want to console.log the change.type. Okay, let's try to save and see in the browser. On snapshot is not a function. I forget the S, by the way. Snapshot, yeah. Okay, as you can see in here, we have added. Okay, added meaning is, let's just okay, added meaning is we have two object now. All right, if I delete, we should have remove. Okay, let's refresh, and if I add a new user, just say John Doe 123 just say john@doe.com. if I click enter, now it's added. Okay, so inside in here, not in here but in here. Okay, what we need to do is we need to say if change.type is equals to edit, we need to say render user change.doc. Okay, that means is every time I add a new user or refresh the browser in the first time, this thing right here, it should be fire, and render user, it should be fire, which is will be render the data into the browser. Okay, so let's add another condition in here. Let's say if change dot type is equals to remove, we need to grab the individual tr right here. Okay, so we can say let tr set that equals to document dot query selector. We need to grab the data dash id is equal to, we need to grab the id, say doc dot, not doc, change dot doc dot id. That's how we grab the id from the things right here. So I just want to show you something in here. Let's go to element and say tr. Okay, tr have a parent t body, so that's what we need to grab. Okay, let's do in here. I can say let the body set that equals to tr dot parent element. We need to grab the body right here. Okay, so in here I can say table users dot remove child, remove child. We need to remove the body. Okay, so save. Now let's take a look. I want to delete this chandef right here. If I click, now it's gone, and this is a real time. Okay, if I click at the user, let's say Albert Hamilton, phone number, email albert at gmail.com, submit. Now we have data and real time, guys. So if I click at the user, we still have this value. I think we need to fix that. So let's go to add, what is this thing right here? Click at user button. Okay, we need to say add modal form dot first name dot value, set that equals to empty string. Okay, and copy that a couple times, and this should be last name, phone, and email. Okay, now save, and let's take a look. I want to add user, say Chan dev 123, and just say Chan at dev.com, submit. If I click at user again, this is empty. Next, we need to handle the real-time listener for the edit. Okay, so let's go back. We need to, down here, we can just copy this thing right here and paste that down here. For the edit, the type should be modified, and the tr it should be same. Remember, if I edit, we need to delete and we need to render, right? So let's just copy the render right here and paste that down here. Okay, so let's try to save and let's see what we have. For example, I want to edit this thing right here. Let's edit the phone into 111, and if I click submit, now this is updated and this is real time. Okay, and if I click add user, just say John Doe, phone number 123123, just say John at doe.com, enter. Now this is real time. If I click delete, real time, edit, just say, I don't know, just say the phone number, say 222, say submit, this is a real time. Okay, I think that's it for this video, and thank you so much for all of you that watching this video until the end, and I'm going to see you in a very next video. So bye.